All right, today on the ropes, I have the Hacketts with me today. How y'all doing today?
No good.
Good.
For you, Mr. Bernard Hackett, Mr. Hackett, Bernard, my man Bernard, I gotta ask you, when did you first hear, as far as the rumblings that they're actually looking at Jalil as a pro?
It's hard to really say when you started hearing rumblings of people looking at him as a pro, but I'll say it this way: when we came into boxing, when he decided that this was what he wanted to do at about 7 years old, we put together a plan that we're where we plan to be. We don't sound overconfident or braggadocious, but honestly, when we sat down and we mapped where we wanted to be and when we wanted to be there, we're right on track. So for us, they caught up to our plan. Everybody, if they liked them, saw them, growth and development, whether they thought we were on the right track or off, everybody's catching up to our plan now.
Speaking of that, one of the people that really caught Jalil eye was Derek Curry from the Money Team. Talk about that and that conversation.
From the time we met Derek, everything has been a great process. I always tell my son since he was young, luck is hard work and timing. So he had been doing the hard work, the timing came together, and it formulated the brand of luck for him. A very good friend of mine, Michael Short, he was stopping by the house, and he said, "Where your son at?" And he had saw Jalil when he was small, and he saw him, outside, and he said, "Man, he got big. He's still doing the boxing." I said, "Still doing it." He was like, "Man, I'm gonna reach out to a friend of mine, man, see if I can get y'all together." And it was funny that the friend of his was Derek Curry. Derek came and watched my son train several times, came and watched him spar several times, asked us did we have any interaction or thoughts of what we wanted to do, and we sat down and my son told him, "Hey, I'd love to be with a promoter that resembles me," and I thought that was big based on the way that we try to raise my son. And at that point he was like, "I'm in a good situation with Mayweather Promotions, let me reach out." He reached out to Leonard Ellaby and said, "You need to see this kid," and basically the rest is, well, you have the rest on tape. you documented it.
We first met at Mondawmin Mall doing Tank's press conference.
Yeah.
And from that experience there at the press conference, Leonard Ellaby said that you got next.
Yeah, he said future of the sport.
Future of the sport. How big is that, man, to hear from the CEO of Mayweather Promotions that he would call you the future of the sport at the age of probably 15 at the time?
No, I was 16.
You were still 16? Yeah, that's right.
Early 16.
Early 16, that's right.
Yeah, it feels real good knowing that it's like we working so hard from, like you said, from the age of 8. I mean, grinding. So that's saying basically for 8 years we've been just working. And for the dreams to finally manifest into reality is a real big thing. But we know we got to keep going, of course. So yeah, but that was real big to me.
Now, how big was it during that time also as well to get that invite to come into camp from Coach Calvin?
That made it even better because it's like we got a guy getting ready for a world title defense, and he's trying to spar the 16-year-old. So that means he must be able to do something.
Coach Calvin talked to you about you on many occasions with me, how proud of he is of Jalil. And, going into camp the second time, he said he wanted you to unleash it on Tank, man, to really put it on him, man. So what was it like the second time around in camp?
Second time around was a lot different, It was, he already seen what I could do. First time it was like, oh, let's see what this kid can do. But the second time it was like, oh, he's coming to work. So it's like, Tank, let's see if you can keep this kid off you. And going into camp, we spar, good work. But getting into like the last couple weeks of sparring, he was like, show Tank, you the big brother. That was he kept saying over and over again, you the big brother. He said, push him off you, throw him around, show him you the big brother. So it's like, that's when I knew. I was like, man, I must got something, cause I must got something, cause he's telling me to do this and that to this world champion. So,
It's interesting too, because I was looking at the video that you had did with Ellie before the fight scene. You talked about it was going to be a tough match for Tank, as far as it's not going to be easy to get Gamboa out of there, and it was great that Tank had the opportunity to train with you to prepare him for that 12-round matchup. And what did you think about that?
I thought it was going to go 12 from the break, but I thought it would be maybe a early 12th or 11th round knockout. I think if you go back to when we spoke with Ellie, when they were asking predictions on the fight, he was giving his, Dirk, and I said he'll go down in the 8th round, but he'll get up, and then he'll, at any point after that, he'll go. Round 8, he went down, and at any point after that, you saw the accumulation of punishment start to take effect. I think it was a great fight for Tank in the sense of he was in there with a very experienced veteran. He was in there with the guy that used to be the young superstar, and Gamboa hasn't had those 5 or 6 bad losses. I think he has 2 losses. That might have been his 3rd loss with Tank. And I think it let a lot of people see that Tank is for real. He's for real. And just being privileged to be in the camp and thought of for a second time to come spar with him, I was trying to really make my son understand you got to be more than just a regular fighter. For them to ask you to come back a second time, there's something special about you. But make sure when you're in there with these world champions, enjoy the moment. The LeBron James depiction that we heard, that's something that, listening to different things LeBron talked about, he wish he would have enjoyed more of the moments. To enjoy the moment, enjoy everything. Take in the wow aspect. I'm in here with these guys, because the hardest part is not getting signed, having a great amateur career. The hardest part is when you go from being the hunter to the hunted. And I think that's one of the things we've actually got to see a lot of from Tank. Before was, man, Tank chasing everybody down, chasing everybody down. Now, Tank's in a position where the Lions are coming after him. And to see how he's handling that inside the ring is something that, I want him to really understand.
Now, I got to ask you, how proud of you of what Jalil is doing right now?
Oh, I'm very proud of him. But I know he's worked very hard to get where he is right now. He started off young. At first, I was a little nervous as a mom to watch him get beat up or be hit on or anything like that. But he always proved that he was ready for it, and he always just gave 100%. He started off brawling, and he became a real fighter where he actually has technique and he knows what he's doing. So I really don't worry about him anymore, because I know when he goes in the ring, he's prepared and ready for whatever comes his way.
Speaking of that, the first time around at camp for Jalil, he got a cut from Tank. Now, when he came home, what was your thoughts about that when he saw that cut on his face?
Well, we're used to cuts or little bruises here and there, so it's always just like, okay, well, we know we gotta get it together and make sure you put something on it and get ready to win it up and that kind of thing. But because I know that he prepares so well all the time, and he's always fought bigger kids than him the whole time, so it's like I always know that if he got a kid, that's maybe because he just didn't look up or something happened at that point. But I knew he would take care of it. See, it's all cleared up now. So.
At any point did it worry you because he was in the ring with a world champion at the time?
It really doesn't. Only because I know that he prepares so well, and Bernard and him are training constantly and all the time. So it doesn't worry me as much because I know he's prepared for it. So I'm just always like, keep your head up, watch out, look where you're going, and that kind of thing. But Jalil always, just watching him over the years as he's progressed, I just know he's prepared for whatever comes his way. So And if he wasn't prepared and he got hit that time, I know that the next time he's prepared for that, because he's going to look for whatever it was that got him to that point where he got, a scar or something like that. But
What are your thoughts on him turning pro?
I know he's worked and it's something that he's always wanted. So I'm just proud of him. I'm proud that he's finally getting to get the fruits of his labors for all this hard work that he's done over the years, that is actually coming true for him. So I'm really proud of him, because he works hard every day for it.
Now, Dad, I gotta ask you. With the rumors right now running around with Tank and Leo Santa Cruz, what is your thoughts on that?
Great fight. Hey, Leonard Ellerby made the statement that the post-fight press conference, Tank's next fight will be pay-per-view. And when you make that type of statement, pay-per-view ain't for the champion versus somebody just throwing it. It's champion versus champion. If you look at Floyd's career, once he hit the pay-per-view market, every fight was a big fight. Every fight was a major opportunity for somebody to knock him off. So I think now, I think Tank said it the best. He was like, man, I'm a new cash cow. I think that's when it really hit him that, yeah, it's my turn to run boxing. And I think that's going to be a great fight. Santa Cruz, he one of my favorites as far as how he works. He throws 100+ punches around. And when Jalil was really young, it was like Manny Pacquiao. Now he's like a Manny Pacquiao that is young but boxes a little more, but his output is tremendous. I love that. If you see Jalil fight, I'm pressure. Go get it. Let's get it done. And I think when you see Santa Cruz bring his style to the ring, Tank bring his style to the ring, they're going to collide. When they collide, it's going to be the super high output of Santa Cruz versus the one-touch ability of Gervonta Davis. Tank can hit you with one shot and can change the whole complexion of a fight. For me, my personal aspect is I'll be happy because I don't think it's that many on the East Coast that's 135, 140 that can emulate Santa Cruz. So we'll get the chance to go back in camp.
Go back to camp again.
And emulate Santa Cruz.
One thing about that, with Jalil, he's getting bigger, faster, and stronger.
Man.
And one of the things that you talked about, maybe him as a professional is coming in at around 140.
Yeah. Like I said, we talked about this a long time ago, and we actually thought about if we can get pro side at early 16 and we could get some fights at 130, 135, that maybe by 17, 18 he'd be making a move up. But the best laid plans usually get broken up if God don't want him to go that way. And he hit a growth spurt and he started growing. And I'm like, oh man, everybody around Malik Hawkins said, hey man, he not the same size he was at the last camp. And we had to make the change. Okay, Jalil, we're not gonna do that. We'll come in here at 140. He can make the 140, walks around nice and big. We do a lot of strength and conditioning, so I know his strength is there. Looking at some of the opportunities of sparring that he's been able to do over the years, and especially as he's gotten bigger now, I know what he can do. Not just sparring with Tank and the guys at Upton, but sparring with the whole Russell group, whether it's Gary, the WBC featherweight champion, whether it's Tonio, who I think will be one of the rising stars in 2020 when he gets his shot at the belt at whether it's 118, 115, 122. And then Antoine, Olympian. Man, when him and Antoine spar,
I've seen it.
Sparks fly. And that right there is the sparring that says, are you built for this business? I used to get on Jalil a lot of times. Hey man, hands up at all times, because he gets to the point where I'm just a wrecking ball and I ain't worried about the rain that's coming back. And he's been hit on the chin. Bing. Twan sat him down. We don't have no problem with that. Great shots. You can sit down. He got up. He learned. Put my hands in place. These are things that you can't get when you're always sparring, for lack of better, inferior sparring partners. And inferior not means that you're better than them or they're worse than you. It means your experience level is at a different level from them. So when he gets in there with those seasoned veterans, those up and comings, and he's able to not just hold his own but dominate rounds, or can give them blow for blow battles, and these guys are highly ranked or world champions, it tells me he ready. He ready. We wanted to be able to reach our goals. The first goal that we had was having an outstanding amateur career. He's had an outstanding amateur career. Our second goal that we had was he wanted to be the youngest African American boxer to sign with a major promoter. That will happen for him. The third goal, he wanted to fight for a world title before he turned 20 years old. So now we know that in order to make that happen, we got to bite down. We got to be willing to take risks that other people may not take. I told him what it's going to take. I told him that it's not going to be somebody spoon feeding you something. We looking to have maybe 10 fights, and after 10 pro fights, we want maybe 3 or 4 step up fights, and then we want to fight for a world title. And at that point, we're ready to go. I think with him, I've always told him, at no sport can you bite a little bit or taste pro. You either pro or you're not. Guy gets drafted number 1 in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. First thing they expect him to do is come in and start, because they saying you are a franchise changing athlete. Why should it be any different for a boxer? If you have been given whatever money they give you, and you have a lot of other fighters, the majority of fighters who have to come up the ranks selling tickets or doing anything to get any money, then if that's your plot, then you got to go out there and say, I'm supposed to be here. So with him, we had the conversations. He said, let's go. We looking to, like I said, fight maybe 10, 12, then take 3 step-ups, and then put us in there for a title. Boxing, to me, has made a major swing. And if you look back, I think we're about to actually hit another golden age of boxing. When Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, when they were all middleweights, that was the golden age of middleweights. They all fought each other. And if I'm not mistaken, none of them came out unscathed. They all took losses to each other. They all won titles, lost titles. But at the end, that was the golden age. When you look now, I tell him, look at some of the fights that could take place. I could see him fighting a lot of different guys we grew up with and knowing and looked up to. Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, loved watching them as amateurs. Some amateurs that we came up with, that he got opportunities to fight. I'll tell you one that I would love to fight in the pros if he sticks on his course and does his thing. You know who I'm gonna say, Jalil? Joe Ierta.
Yeah, from Bakersfield.
Yes. We fought Joe twice in the amateurs, and the first one, we lost. And I put that completely on myself. I told my son that. The second one, I thought we won, but he got the edge. But those are the rivalries. When you look now, when they talk about even Gary Russell versus Leo Santa Cruz, they keep referring back, they fought in the amateurs. Danny Garcia, Terrence Crawford, fought in the amateurs. That golden age is coming back. Look how quick Shakur got a title. Look how
very
quick
fast
Teofimo got a title.
He's what, 20, just 22?
Right.
Yeah.
When these guys bit the apple, took the chances, and now they're where they are. He's only a few years behind them. When all of them reach their prime, I'd love to share the ring with some of those guys as a pro. I'd love to match wits coaching with Coach K. He's Shakur's coach. Teofimo's team. Just going back to the days when an East Coast guy had all the East Coast coaches and stuff. Hey man, we going to fight this West Coast guy. We coming down there and we bringing this guy to spar with you. You go look at some of those old videos. I got some old DVDs where you had world champions coming to help Ray Leonard get ready for a big fight. Coming to help other DC fighters get ready for big fights. One of my favorites who took on everybody, Hall of Famer, Mark Johnson. that renaissance is coming back because you're starting to see young lions. Say, I'm not just trying to be a lion and keep feeding on gazelles. I'm trying to be a lion and feed on other lions. So you're getting those opportunities to fight. So whether he finishes career 30-0 or whether he finishes career 25-4, if we fought the best, I can live with the outcome of that career. So that's my take on it.